I did not think we were going to get this deep into an El Camino project. I really thought, like, I was going to pull the motor out, we'll throw the new motor in, we'll be good to go. It never goes that way. Ever. What's going on, guys? We are out at the house and it is a beautiful day. Don't go anywhere just yet.
I got spider web on my finger.
You got spider web on the finger. It has occurred to me that we have a lot of cool cars. We've got race cars, we've got all kinds of stuff, but all of those are really just a bunch of work. And anytime we want to take them out, we got to put them on a trailer, we got to do this, we got to do that. We don't have any cool cruisers. We don't have anything to just fire up and go get ice cream or go pick up the kids from school or go do some one-wheel burnouts and enjoy ourselves. Right now, we've got a pretty heavy race schedule ahead of us, but the car is together. It's not broken. I looked over it the other day. There's some stuff I want to do. So we're going to go ahead and do something stupid. And I think that I finally have all the parts to get this thing to run again. We've got a badass 355 that I got from a buddy, did some training stuff. My brother Nick is gonna go up and get the headers today. So today we're gonna pull the Nova out of the garage, stick this thing in and start swapping the motor so we can finally drive the El Camino. Come here.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're not gonna go anywhere this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna stay home and we're gonna do this.
Stop.
Yeah. I wanna get this thing running. Because I'm tired of having beautiful days like this and then not, like we don't have anything just to cruise. Like we don't have anything just to enjoy
The El Camino.
hot rodding and vehicles and streetcar stuff and all that kind of stuff. So you get a streetcar.
El Camino.
Little does she know that one day.
Don't start that.
That one day.
Why do you get a Tim the Toolman Taylor of the El Camino? Don't do that.
No, one day I will sign up for, I want to do the one in Florida. The sick week.
Oh, okay.
So I think this will eventually become a vehicle for that, or something where we can like spray it, run like 1150s all week, and go do like a sick week style or a drag week style event. So the only way we're gonna get to do that though is by getting this thing running and driving and all that good stuff. So let's get to it. Alright, so first step, we got some air in the tires. I've had the battery on the charger. I would like to see if we can get this thing. My goal here, because I think it would make for the best video ever, is if we drive it into the garage and then drive it out of the garage. But this thing hasn't started since I don't know when, and all I've got is 112. So things are about to get interesting.
Got the charger.
The throttle's stuck. Because there's a hornet's nest right in there. Get a nice view of that. You see them hornets that I just disturbed?
They're coming back for you later, for sure.
Oh, they're definitely going to be coming back for me later. The linkage is messed up. It doesn't want to open. So this is going to be interesting trying to drive it in there. I'll just pour some fuel in there and see what happens. Yeah, right. I was turning the key and everything. It's this thing needs some work. Alright, we're gonna give it one more shot. If not, this might not work. And the answer to the question may be it doesn't start. Oh, there we go. We just need to give it some time. Now it just needs battery power. I may have not had a good round on it. No. Mucho sadness. We're gonna have to let it charge for a while. So, kids are about to be home from school. We got a sandwich. I got to move the Nova out anyway. We got to push that out. So let's do that. I'll come back to it. All right, we got the El Camino in the garage after much fighting. It didn't want to start and fire up and run. I know that it will, but the bottom end is knocking. We've got a basic, I don't even know if it's a 305, 350, what it is, probably a 305, 350 trans. It's knocking. The bottom end is tired. It's time for us to go ahead and start working on disconnecting everything and getting it out. Part of the reason I wanted to trade and got this other small block is because there is power steering here, there is AC, there is a bunch of stuff that maybe won't work right away, but in the future I know we've got the parts and pieces to make work. It'd be really fun to have this thing a street cruiser and still be able to have AC and power steering, especially for Mallory, who should be driving it most of the time except for when I steal it. In the corner we got a 355. It's iron headed, it's got some parts and pieces, it's nothing special, but it's going pretty fast and it's way better than what's in here. So let's start ripping it out. This bell housing bolt is like halfway out, so it's been out before. What up?
What up? What up?
All right.
Back from New Jersey?
Back from New Jersey. Look at that.
He got the goods.
He got the goods.
Got the goods.
And the flint perfect. That's exactly what we
The head red.
Red? Nah, we need black.
I thought red would have looked cool.
So Nick went up to Jersey, and I was able to find a set of used long tubes, and they were very well priced, and they're supposed to be for a G body, so that'll be nice instead of having to order something, wait for it to come in, all that, this, you know, the other. And if we got to dent them up or something, it's not the end of the world because it's just an old used set. You got to sand these down and paint them.
Okay.
Do you want to do that?
I could.
You could. You look mighty fresh. You got your
That's what I'm
girlfriend with
saying.
you. Like, psh, we working over here, dog.
Yeah.
I know you were out in Jersey having fine dining experiences.
We didn't
and
stop
stuff.
anywhere. I wanted to get there and get back.
Oh, but we're over here working. All right, word. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, there's bell housing bolts. Oh, there we go. Well, after a few hours and back and forth and up and down, I think we're ready to try to pull this thing out. I left everything as connected as I possibly could to try to take it out in one big chunk instead of wasting a bunch of time taking everything off and trying to undo rusted bolts that weren't going to work, or, you know, some of the hoses I cut because they're stuck on and everything, and it's worth the $15, $20, $30, whatever it is, to go buy new hoses. So there's going to be some stuff in the way. I think that I got everything. I'm not sure. We're about to find out. That's what this engine hoist is for. It's not for lifting engines. It's for reminding you of everything you forgot to disconnect. Actually. Oh, she's free, baby. She's free. There's all the water that didn't get drained out. This is where it's going to get tricky, trying to get around all this crap. The transcooler lines are above the exhaust. We're either going to have to cut the transcooler lines or cut the exhaust. Now, I've already cut some of the exhaust. These lines are all rusty anyway, so what we'll probably do, I'll probably just go ahead and cut these, and I'll do like we've done a number of times on old hot rod builds and whatever, and even some race car stuff, old school back in the day. I'll just slide 6AN hose over this, clamp it, and we'll get rid of this hard line in the middle because it's all rusted out and everything anyway. So if we clean it up right here and cut it, and cut it and cut it, I think it'll be all right. We're just gonna lose some trans fluid, which is no big deal because we're gonna need new fluids in this thing anyway. Now it's gonna be in your trans cooler lines. Yeah. Well, we're gonna flush the trans out anyway, put new fluid in it. Everything will be all right. And let this thing drain everywhere. All over the nice garage floor. You've got to be very careful with this here. Woo! One junk small block Chevy removed. I gotta find a place to stick this thing. All right, we got the motor out. I talked to Mallory a little bit about kind of what the game plan would be and everything. She just wants to drive it. She don't care. But you know, in this house, we can't do. We ain't just gonna put a bone stock 350 in it that just runs and drives. We got the 355 that has been pretty fast before. Eventually it'll get nitrous, all that. Also, I have this radiator that came out of the Nova when I had the big block in it. I ended up upgrading the radiator, but this one is gonna be a nice little upgrade for her. So, what are the chances? It fits perfectly. Has trans cooler, it's got everything we need. I want to clean up some stuff under here. Obviously we got to swap the motor mounts out. I'm going to put solid motor mounts in this thing because when you have solid motor mounts in and you hit the gas and when you start it up and it's got a little cam, it rumbles the car a little bit. So it's just more about the feel of it, and I want her, when she fires it up, to, you know, to feel a little shake in her ass, feel like she's got something under the hood. So we're gonna do solid motor mounts. I'm probably gonna clean up this frame a little bit, just hit it with a quick spray paint, kind of to go through some of the wiring and stuff and figure out how much stuff we're gonna keep on the front end as far as accessories and all that. We'll keep working at this. We'll get a fresh start on it tomorrow and we'll keep moving along. I think it'll be, pending nothing goes wrong and we've got no issues, just making it run, it'll be another couple of days and we'll be firing this thing up. So I'm excited about it.
So right now I'm just sanding down these headers just to roughen them up a bit so we can put down that paint on there. I'm almost finished with this one and then I'm going to knock the other one out probably within the next 20 minutes or so. Well, I finished scuffing up the headers, so now after reading the instructions to make sure that I properly spray this down so that Matt doesn't yell at me, we're gonna get started on that.
We're back at it again. Last night, got the engine out, and always with a project like this, honestly, I thought getting the engine out was going to take a whole lot longer than it did, and we've still got a massive to-do list. I did not plan accordingly with Mallory. This was kind of all a surprise, so she didn't get a chance to really get hands-on yesterday because we didn't schedule that. So today, she's going to do some work and get some work done on her truck. I want to get the converter in. We got to get the motor mounts swapped out. I'm giving you my radiator out of the Nova. So it's not anything special, but it's new. We got to do that, and then hopefully we'll set the motor in. I kind of goofed up on some of the motor stuff. If we want to use that bracketry, we're going to have to use all of it or none of it. So I think we're going to put the motor in with the stuff that's on it now, and I'm going to buy us aftermarket power steering brackets, that kind of stuff. So it'll be nicer, but then at least this way we can get it in and running. We just won't have power steering yet until I get those brackets in.
I would like some power steering.
It only matters under 5 miles an hour. When the car's rolling, that's not going to matter. But if you're at a dead stop, that's when it's hard to turn. You'll be fine. People have been doing it for ages. All right, you want to get this converter in? One thing I noticed about when I took the engine out, this trans has a converter in it. I noticed some signs that maybe the trans had been out before. It looks like they've got some other kind of converter in it. I've got an extra 350 trans that I don't know much about. It looks like this one has either been replaced or the converter's been replaced, maybe gone through, so we're not going to swap the trans out, but I do have a different converter that we're going to stick in here, so that way just be a little bit more responsive and a little bit more fun on the street.
Maybe.
You can do it, I believe in you.
So.
Yeah, I would go like underneath of it, kind of.
Okay.
You're gonna pull it straight out. It's gonna come straight out. So like, there's, I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but there's like 2 tangs in there that this will go into, and that's on the front of the pump. I think I set you up for failure. You see this part of the input shaft? If you go look at that other one, that's a glide. But that one under the bench there is another 350. I almost guarantee you it doesn't have that part on the input shaft. Either I goofed up and this thing's a 700 R4, or it's... No, because the pan says hydromatic, which is the TH part. So I don't know what the deal with this trans is. See how that input shaft doesn't have that?
No, it doesn't.
So, I'll have to find that why. Yeah, we got the motor in Mal's car, and I went to go, I sent her to put this converter in, and the converter won't go in.
My bad.
And it's got that weird thing on the end with like an O-ring on it. A modulator line, what is that?
Google it.
Just finished up these headers over here, so now we just gotta let them fully dry. Give them a couple hours probably, let them figure out whatever they're trying to figure out in there. So till then, we'll be chilling.
So Mallory's working on getting these motor mounts out. I dropped the ball on the transmission, and now we have a decision to make. I should have known as soon as I saw that input shaft that something was up. I had made the assumption just because when I bought the car, I think I was told, you know, 350, whatever, and it's just a pretty common GM thing from back in the day. I talked to my trans guy. He said it's actually a 204R, and he's like, you're gonna break it. If you're gonna put any power to it, you're gonna break it. Nice thing is that it has overdrive, and you know, could be a decent trans. You know, probably on motor isn't gonna be the end of the world, but if we start spraying it or if we do anything to give it any sort of power, it's not gonna hold up and last. I have another 350 trans that I had bought a while ago. I don't know anything about it, but we should be able to possibly get the 350 trans in there. I might have to move the trans mount. We'll have to see about the drive shaft. I have drive shafts that have been in G bodies before with a 350 trans, 400 trans. I've got stuff floating around from years ago, so we're gonna have to make that decision. So if that's the case, it's gonna take a little bit longer than originally anticipated, just because now we gotta, I mean, the trans is a couple bolts away from being out.
Okay.
But we'll have to take that trans, stick it in. We might have to figure out a drive shaft, all that kind of stuff. It may extend the deadline of this project slightly. We could put the motor in, know the trans is going to go at some point, and deal with that at a later time. Now or later. Now. Now is the answer.
Well, you're answering for me, so.
Yeah. I'm not even going to let you think about it. Let's just fix it now.
All right.
Let's fix it now, and that way you'll be happy with it.
I do want to be happy with it.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to have you happy with it is...
You know my end goal?
What?
To eat ice cream in the bed of this car truck.
Car truck?
Yeah, I want to sit in the bed of the car truck and eat an ice cream cone. That's my end goal. So if we can make that happen before it's cold outside, so it's not ridiculous.
Because I'll do it in December if that's the case, but I mean, it'll look really ridiculous.
I think we can make it happen.
Okay.
Okay. For the bottom ones, we usually either like cut. You'll notice a lot of old GM stuff that has had motor mounts done will have the part of the frame cut out so you can reach it. But those, I think you can actually get above the control arm and get in there. So we'll try doing it from underneath, and if it doesn't work, we'll just cut the
I
frame.
might be able to get it right from the back.
Yeah.
But I won't be able to, you know what I'm saying, unless I get underneath the car
Yeah.
to go over and under.
Yeah. Well, you're doing this the really hard. I would have sat right in the middle there and did that.
Yeah,
You're
well, you know
in the
what?
middle, right?
I already sat on this, and I know it's extremely dirty. Trying not to.
Well, you're already dirty, so isn't it?
Splish, splash, and stuff.
You gotta get dirty for the car.
I have to go watch Footloose later.
You go watch Footloose.
Yeah. Live action Footloose.
Live action Footloose. I'll be here working on this. You wanna see a trick?
I like tricks.
That's the last one, right? That's
Yeah.
the last one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you a little trick here.
Okay.
Sometimes it works.
Oh.
If you put pressure on it,
Yes.
it'll,
Actually, know this trick.
it'll keep the backside from spinning.
Yeah.
You can high five me because you're dirty. Oh, you can hug me too?
The dirt, the fill.
And now I need a research break because I have to see what I gotta do some math on what the length of that the trans is.
You just hit that. You just.
Yeah.
It's like special effects.
Oh yeah. Bah,
Yeah.
bah, floor dry. Floor dry. I like it. Alright, let me do some math first. After some precise mathematical calculations, I think a TH350 will fit just fine in here. I don't think we'll have any issue. I think the drive shaft will work, mount will work, because the mount is slotted. I think everything's good to go. TH350 it is. So something's got to get cut here. At bare minimum, the exhaust has to get cut, and maybe this will get cut. And that's why we put two hands on the grinding equipment, because if I had had one hand on that thing and it fell, who knows what would have happened if I'd have been able to support it. Come on, stupid 200 Ford R4 overdrive hydromatic made in Mexico. It says metric right on the damn thing. Come on, man, just come out. I was hoping to do this without disconnecting the drive shaft, or at least right now just pull it out, because I can't get the vehicle up high enough to get the trans out from underneath, so we're gonna have to go forward and come up out this way. There it is. Ha ha. I hope you got that, because we ain't reenacting that shit. Alright, we need floor dry in the worst way. I had to psych myself up for this moment because I knew we didn't have there was no drain plug, there was no way to drain this trans. I knew we were going to create a giant mess. I didn't want to just drill a hole in the pan and ruin the pan, and you know, could be a good transmission for somebody. Somebody might need it. Good core, whatever. And here's that giant mess. Junk 200R4 hydromatic metric overdrive, whatever the heck this thing is, gone. I did not think we were going to get this deep into an El Camino project. I really thought, like, I was going to pull the motor out, we'll throw the new motor in, we'll be good to go. It never goes that way. ever. We got the trans out. I made a big mess, started cleaning that up, and then I want to let some of this floor dry stay on there for a while. I cannot put the other trans in until I get the tail shaft bushing, the mount bushing, and all that. I think they got them at the local parts store. I've also got a list of other stuff we need to get, so I'm gonna head over to the parts store now and start grabbing this stuff before they're closed tonight, because I'm thinking possibly we could put the motor and trans together and suck it all in as one piece. So in order to do that, I gotta have that trans mount on there, so let's go grab that thing now. Let's find it. Look at that. Is that exactly the one we need? Yep, I think that's it. That's the winner. It's like the first time this has ever worked out, where I went to the auto parts store and they had exactly what I needed. We'll grab that. Throw that in there for her. Header bolt set. We'll try that. Oh, I'm gonna spend a whole bunch of money in advance today. I can feel it coming. For a TH350. TH350. That trans, I don't think, has a dipstick tube. I don't remember seeing one, so we're gonna get it now. 87 Chevy El Camino. I'm looking for the exhaust manifold gaskets. Oh. Well, we got most of what we needed. We needed to get that mount, so at least we can start putting that back together. I saw a couple other parts and pieces I knew we were gonna need, and we still need to get a few more things, but it'll be all right because we've got enough stuff here now that we can get back to work and keep making progress. We don't need the hoses and all that kind of stuff just yet until we get the motor and trans and everything set down in there. So we'll make another trip for that, and hopefully they don't try to upsell me on some damn gaskets again. They're wild, man. They're like, you really want to? We don't recommend these Felpros. I'm like, you guys don't understand how little I care about them Felpro gaskets. I will put them right in there and they will be fine. I should probably just use Permatex. I don't even know when I bought gaskets. Wild. Well, went to the store, got the parts. I have a 350 trans here that I had bought with an LS a while back. I'm thinking it's good. The good news is I know the converter is going to go in there. It's the converter that was in this trans, so we should have no issue there. I'm gonna go ahead and put this together and then mate it up to the motor, put the torque converter bolts in, do everything out here. It's gonna make it much easier. All right, Pierre.
All right, buddy. It's fine.
It's gonna make it much easier to do it out here, and then hopefully that's the part where it's the downside, is when you try to put it all in at once, like then it can be a real pain. I think I would rather do it this way than when I was pulling those bell housing bolts out earlier. They were a total nightmare, some of these ones up here. So let's get this thing together. Ooh. Super easy. Hey, Pierre. How come you didn't do that? Is it because you don't have thumbs? Huh? You want to be a garage dog, you gotta do garage dog things. Like put this thing together. It's not loose. it's finally time. I got motor mounts in, I got the trans mount on. We painted up the frame a little bit just to clean it up, make it not look so rusty and terrible. And now we're going to attempt to slide this whole thing in as one big piece. I say attempt because I don't know if it will work, if it won't work. Put your hands anywhere where this thing falls, tips, chain breaks, whatever is going to get caught. Alright? So just make sure to keep, because it will destroy you. Just swing it around. See if we can.
Gotcha.
Alright?
Yep.
Good?
Yep.
Hands clear? Your hands clear?
Now they are.
There you go.
Now you could start lowering a little bit.
Can we go back? Hey. Alright, so you can go back some, you said?
Yep. Gonna have to go a little bit lower now.
The problem with this is that usually the angle you have to hit where we just go a million times. Coming down. We're probably gonna have to take the drive shaft out now. So Nick, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have you work the front here, right? Okay. Very, very easily, carefully, like if I tell you to go up and down or in or out, whatever. Because I'm gonna try to get because what we gotta do now is we gotta tilt the whole thing, so it can kind of, but you're gonna have to come down as I tilt up, slide into place. Where are you at, Nick?
I'm behind the jack.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so you need to come down a little bit.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, I can come down.
Alright, come down a little bit. The motor mount bolts are too small. It's not fat enough.
Gotcha.
So the whole thing is just shaking. Which at this point, somehow, when I measured the trains and everything, maybe because of the position of the motor, I don't know, but the cross member is really far off. The nice thing about that cross member is I think I can just unbolt it, move it forward, and either number one, GM already put holes for it, or we can put our own holes, which is going to screw up our drive shaft length a little bit, but one thing at a time, we'll get it figured out. Hey, there we go, it is. Yeah. We can pull that bad boy out of here. Get that thing out.
Headers.
Yeah, we do got to check the headers and see if they're going to go in there at all whatsoever, or what the deal is going to be. Yeah, we'll test the, we'll check the headers, see what they're going to look like, see if they, because sometimes you got to lift it up, put the header on, then kind of slide it back in. Sometimes it's a game. Sometimes you got to go in from the bottom. Yeah, these don't look like they're going to be any sort of fun. Can we even feed them up through the bottom? Oh. Alright, we got the motor set in place. The trans cross member is off a little bit. I'm thinking about moving the motor mounts back. There's multiple positions on the frame, and I put it where the original small block was. And now that I look at it, there's a lot of gap in the firewall. It looks like we could, honestly, we could probably go back 3 or 4 inches. So I'm gonna do some research and figure out, because it's possible that maybe when you do this setup or when you use these style of motor mounts that they want you to go back further. I didn't know. I didn't look into it. I just thought small block Chevy, what's the difference? Motor mounts, you know what I mean? They're just, we went from a rubber bushing one to a solid motor mount. Shouldn't have been that much of an issue, but I think we can definitely move back further. So tonight I'm gonna do a little bit of research and start, you know, looking around, plotting and planning, figuring out how we can make this work a little bit better. I think honestly, like I said, just moving those motor mounts back is gonna be a tremendous help. And then we can figure out the cross member for the transmission, and we can start figuring everything else out and start putting it back together. Like any good project, something that I thought was gonna be simple, pull the motor out, put the new motor in. It never is. Then we went from pull the motor out to let's swap the converter because we have it, to oh, we have a 200 R4 and I didn't know any better. Now we know, learned all about that. My buddy told me straight up, hey, if you're gonna make any power, you're going to blow it up. And the last thing I want to do is put Mallory in this thing, and you know, she's not gonna be driving like a maniac or wild, but maybe one time she puts her foot in the gas, stomps it, and the transmission goes up and leaves her stranded. I would rather just put a 350 in that we know is going to handle a little bit more abuse and going to be a little bit more of a fun time, and you know, have some longevity to it. So it's one of those things that sucks, because where I would have really have liked to been firing this thing up today, if we didn't have to replace the trans and everything else, we probably could have been working our way towards firing it up. Probably going to turn into a multi-video deal here, where I thought we would get it all done in one. We're going to probably end up doing a few videos on this. But in the long run, it's going to turn out to be a much better product for Mallory, and she really deserves it. She does so much, it's insane. Like, you guys don't even understand the racing and the businesses and the YouTube and everything, all this stuff I do. She is the glue that holds it all together and keeps the house functioning, and you know, really keeps the kids on track, and keeps herself and myself and everybody else on track. So I think it's worth the little bit of extra energy, effort, money, and stuff to put into this thing and make it right for her. Because when we're done with it, she's going to go out and enjoy it. Not as quickly as I would have liked to been, but hey, it's working on cars. That happens. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching the videos, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, doing the whole thing. I really, really appreciate it. We're going to clean up in the garage here some. I'm going to get cleaned up. I think we've done enough work in the last 2 days to where I could take a little nap, get in bed early tonight, and then start figuring out the game plan tomorrow. So I'll see you guys next time. I am a master of automotive yoga. See how I'm using my leg to jack this jack up?